The Thompsons stood outside their new home, marveling at its vintage charm. The house was old but beautiful, perched on the outskirts of town like a forgotten treasure. Jack carried boxes inside, while Susan admired the intricate woodwork on the porch. Timmy, full of excitement, ran past them and burst into the living room, laughing. As the family entered, a faint shadow flickered in an upstairs window, unnoticed by anyone. In the living room, the family was busy unpacking as Timmy bounced on the couch. When his foot hit the floor, the couch shifted slightly, catching Susan's attention. "Did you see that?" she asked Jack, her voice uneasy. "It's an old house, Sue," Jack said with a chuckle. Susan nodded, but her eyes lingered on the couch, unease creeping in. Late that evening, Susan sat alone in the living room, enjoying a quiet moment with her tea. The faint whisper came suddenly, "Get out." She froze, her heart pounding, her eyes darting across the room. "Hello? Is someone there?" she called out, but the only reply was silence, broken by the faint creaking of the walls. The house was silent when it started, heavy footsteps pacing above their heads. Jack grabbed a flashlight and checked the upstairs, finding nothing but sleeping children. "Must have been the wind," he muttered, though his tone lacked conviction. The footsteps stopped, leaving behind an oppressive stillness. Susan clutched her blanket tighter, her unease growing. It was midday when Susan first noticed something strange. The living room seemed larger, as if the walls had stretched overnight. "Jack," she called softly, her voice trembling, "does this room look different to you?" Jack stepped in, his jaw dropping as he stared at the impossibly vast space. "This isn't right," he whispered, fear creeping into his voice. Timmy stood at the far end of the living room, too far away, as though the space between them had doubled. His lips moved, whispering to someone unseen, his gaze fixed on the walls. "Timmy!" Susan called, but he didn't respond, his small body unnaturally still. Jack stepped forward, but the room seemed to grow even larger. The whispers returned, faint but unmistakable, "Stay." Jack ran toward Timmy, but no matter how fast he moved, the distance only increased. The walls shifted, elongating the space between father and son, while the furniture began sliding into place behind him. "Timmy, come back!" Jack shouted, his voice breaking with panic. Susan stood frozen, watching in disbelief as the room twisted and warped. The whispers grew louder, mocking them at every step. The whispers turned to growls, guttural and menacing, echoing through the endless room. The furniture moved violently, slamming into walls and blocking the exits. Susan screamed as the living room pulsed like a living thing, its walls breathing in sync with her racing heart. "Jack! Timmy!" she cried, but her voice was drowned out by the chaos. The house seemed alive, feeding on their fear. Timmy vanished first, swallowed by the expanding void of the living room. Jack lunged forward, trying to grab him, but the space devoured him too, leaving only darkness behind. "No! Jack! Timmy!" Susan screamed, her voice echoing endlessly in the empty room. The walls shuddered, the whispers rising into a crescendo before fading abruptly. Susan fell to her knees, the silence crushing. The house stood still, its secrets hidden once again within its ancient walls. The living room returned to its normal size, as if nothing had happened. Shadows danced in the corners, and faint whispers lingered, waiting, always waiting. Outside, the wind rustled the trees, carrying with it a sense of foreboding. The house waited patiently for its next family.